I love Dragon's Dogma. I got it in the bargain bin years ago, many years ago, and immediately fell in love with it. Fast forward many years later, and now we have Dragon's Dogma 2, the sequel that I have been eagerly waiting for. But it's also $70 freaking, so I still don't have the full game. And because of that, I wanted to make a quick video of something I do have access to, which is the Dragon's Dogma 2 character creator, as well as Dark Arisen, the original game. I always thought that Dark Arisen had a pretty cool character tool that gives you a lot of flexibility in how you create your characters, and surely Dragon's Dogma 2 improves on that. If you don't care to watch the rest of this video, the quick answer is that, yeah, it does improve on the old character creator in a lot of ways, but not everything is butter and gravy. Anyway, if you don't already know, you can get the character creator for Dragon's Dogma 2 from the official website, which will link you to a Steam page if you're on PC. I can't say how you get it on consoles, but there's probably something equivalent in whatever marketplace you use. So let's get down to the comparison. One thing that jumps at me right away when it comes to the editor is the UI. The UI for Dragon's Dogma 2 editor has a lot of improvements over Dark Arisen. The Dark Arisen UI is a little clunky, harder to navigate, and in general feels like it takes longer to get to where you need to be. I had originally played Dark Arisen on console way back in the day, and I didn't really feel it was as much of an issue back then, but playing it again on PC, it's not the greatest experience. It's just kind of annoying, honestly. Dragon's Dogma 2 though, feels, well, pretty easy to navigate, to get from place to place, and generally find your way around. I feel like the UI upgrade is an actual upgrade and a huge win all around. Quick aside though, backspace button to confirm changes? Really? Whatever. Now, individual options. Dark Arisen's character creator gives you a bunch of preset pieces to put together, a few sliders, and that's about it. It was pretty simple in that regard, but it produced some really unique builds. Dragon's Dogma 2 gives you that, and more. Much more. Rear size. Let's see the... Oh yeah. There we go, perfect. You still have your individual pieces that you can choose from, like noses and eyebrows, but you also have a lot more control over the sliders. Like you can make adjustments, generally fine-tune your avatar and such. If you've played any Bethesda game, or most games that have character creators these days, like Street Fighter, you know what you're gonna expect. It's more customizable than Baldur's Gate 3 in my opinion, but therein kinda lies the dilemma. There's a ton of stuff to fiddle with, which means that if you're a perfectionist and you have to get your personal vision just right, it's far more of a struggle to wrangle that one perfect avatar than it was before. Dragon's Dogma 2 also offers beast-like people as a potential character building choice, which just adds another layer of complexity to the whole thing. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, or I personally dislike it, but as the number of options goes up, it becomes more difficult to choose among those options. Going through the creator made me sort of miss the simplicity of slapping together a few facial pieces like a bunch of Legos to make a dude and go on an adventure. On the flip side, you do get a lot more variety when it comes to ethnic groups and specific facial characteristics in Dragon's Dogma 2. It's a lot easier to create someone who appears aged, for example. There's also robust scar and tattoo placement systems that I think a lot of players will like, which reminded me of Vindictus in a way if you ever played that. Hell, you can even determine how many teeth your character has, or, you know, cover your character in dirt. Just covered in dirt. If you're into that. I do have two nitpicks. Dark Arisen allowed you to make characters who were super small or super large. I think the smallest you can go in Dragon's Dogma 2 is around 160 centimeters, which is like 5'2" for you American folk. There are probably good gameplay reasons for this, so it's not a huge deal to me. Also, considering like 90% of pawns in Dark Arisen were little girls, maybe this change is actually pretty good, actually. Yeah. But, you know, I kind of like making Gimli the dwarf from the House of Durin in Dark Arisen, so yeah. The other thing I noticed is that muscle definition in Dragon's Dogma 2 is barely a thing. It may be a little bit more realistic, but if I want to make my dudes absolutely ripped, like Gears of War ripped, like Conan the Barbarian on steroids ripped, Dark Arisen had me covered, more or less. Dragon's Dogma 2, not so much. The slider doesn't really change a whole lot, especially in a female body type, which is honestly kind of a shame. I was hoping for a little bit more muscle. Overall though, the character creator in Dragon's Dogma 2 is pretty dope. If I had to compare it to some other character creators I've used, I would have liked a little bit more in the way of hair options, or maybe optional hair lengths for different styles, bangs and whatnot. Not much to say beyond that though. It is overall a very competent tool and almost a direct upgrade over what we had in Dark Arisen. I'm still not buying the game as it's way too expensive, and judging by the user score, it's probably going to take another year or so before all of the performance issues and bugs are resolved. I might come back to it then. Dark Arisen was actually sort of a standalone expansion pack to the original Dragon's Dogma, and also frankly a lot better than the original game, so maybe I'll wait for whatever equivalent Dragon's Dogma 2 has that comes out, and hopefully it is another banger like Dark Arisen. Let me know what you think of Dragon's Dogma 2. Worth a buy? Not worth a buy? Better than the original? A direct improvement? No? I'd love to play it and give my thoughts on the game at some point, but for now, that's all I got for you. See you in the next one. Bye. What is that? What is that?